Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Vanguard and how the developers have utilized the DualSense's adaptive triggers and Aloy's new abilities in Horizon Forbidden West. We're also going to be discussing some exciting news when it comes to the story of Insomniac's Wolverine and how apparently a new Splinter Cell game is in development. If that sounds interesting, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing if you're new. It really helps the channel grow. The first topic we're going to be talking about is how Sledgehammer has utilized the DualSense controller for Call of Duty Vanguard. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says, Call of Duty Vanguard weapon attachments will change how DualSense triggers react. Sledgehammer has detailed how the upcoming Call of Duty Vanguard will utilize the unique and immersive sensations of the PS5 DualSense controller to make each weapon feel unique, even down to specific weapon attachments, actually changing how the adaptive triggers react and feel. Sledgehammer Games principal engineer Chris Fowler took to the PlayStation blog to explain how the developer is utilizing the DualSense for Call of Duty Vanguard. While Treyarch's Black Ops Cold War also used the DualSense in its PS5 release last year to simulate the different trigger feel of different weapons, it seems like Sledgehammer may even be taking it to a step further in Vanguard. Fowler explains that there are 4 primary stages to a trigger pull: the take-up, break, over travel, and trigger reset. The first is the trigger play you get up until the weapon fires. The break point is at which the weapon actually fires, followed by the over travel, which is the distance the trigger travels following the break. And finally, the trigger reset is where automatic firing ceases and the break is reset. Vanguard's DualSense implementation takes into account all of these stages of a trigger pull, notably changing around the breakpoint specifically. Different weapons have different tension in the lead up to the break. A sidearm will pull much more easily than a marksman rifle, for example. On the ADS scope trigger side, heavier weapons feel heavier to pull. ADS on an SMG will have much less tension than pulling up a rocket launcher or LMG to help communicate the weight of what you're wielding. But even beyond changing the adaptive trigger feel for individual weapons, specific weapon attachments will also change the trigger feel, adding another element to leveling up guns and crafting your weapon loadouts. In the end, the player will find variety in weapon feel, will find new variables to work with in weapon tuning, and will have the ability to add new attachments that change how the trigger reacts, the force of the feedback, and the downside speed. Weapon attachments will not only change how the weapon feels in game, but also on your controller. Of course, if you prefer not to use the adaptive triggers, you can simply toggle them off on the fly in Vanguard's options menu. Sledgehammer is also making use of the haptic feedback in the DualSense to communicate what's going on around you, whether it's debris flying by your head as an enemy chips through your cover, or the fury of the Luftwaffe sending hell your way in Stalingrad. The DualSense will provide deeper immersion into the environment and situations you are in. So yeah, this is pretty good news when it comes to Call of Duty Vanguard. It seems like whatever Treyarch did last year with Black Ops Cold War as far as the DualSense controller and all the features that were used in the game, it seems like Sledgehammer is doing that and then some. I did play Black Ops Cold War when it came out last year, and the triggers felt pretty nice. It felt kind of realistic. I mean, I don't really shoot guns, but as far as playing it in a game and how the triggers will jam if you don't have any ammo, and seemingly the left and right triggers will lock up. And I know a lot of people thought that this DualSense adaptive trigger thing was like a whole gimmick, but I have a PS5 and I've played a lot of games that have taken advantage of this feature, and it is legit. And it's also going to help when it comes to the immersion, because in Call of Duty Vanguard, whatever gun you have, it's going to feel completely different to all the other guns. So if you're firing a pistol, it's going to feel completely different than when you're shooting a sniper rifle or shooting a rocket launcher at somebody. And anything that helps make a game more immersive, whether it's the environment and everything around you, or if it comes to just the actual gameplay, I think that's a great thing. And hopefully when Vanguard comes out, hopefully it'll actually be a really good entry in the Call of Duty lineup. But down in the comment section, I want to know if you guys are excited for Call of Duty Vanguard. And if you are, will you be playing it on the Xbox or the PlayStation? The next topic in the video is about Horizon Forbidden West and how Aloy is going to be getting new abilities and weapons. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, and the headline reads, Horizon Forbidden West offers Aloy a variety of new abilities, weapons, and tools. Guerrilla Games has explained how they've changed both the environments and the tools Aloy has at her disposal in Horizon Forbidden West to give players a range of new abilities in the upcoming game. While there will be a similar amount of freedom as there was in Horizon Zero Dawn, the developer wanted to offer more ways to explore and experience the world. There are many new ways Aloy can get across the world. One new addition is the ability to climb huge sections of rocky terrain without the need for tribal handholds. The high vault traversal mechanic lets Aloy pull herself on top of any object of jumpable height as long as there's room to do so. When combined with wall jumping, the ability to leap away from a climbing surface, and the extra grapple points that allow for vertical traversal in more areas, there will be plenty of opportunities to put the photo mode through its paces. When not climbing, players will be able to use even more mechanical creatures as mounts than the first game to travel larger distances at greater speed. Aloy can also now swim, no longer limited to just merely hiding underwater. Of course, this means Guerrilla Games has rethought level design to give players more options, as explained by lead systems designer David McCullen. This wide array of new options also pose challenges to how we think about level design. We need to allow for players to outsmart us, using new moves or tools to bypass some of our challenges in clever and unpredictable ways. Traversal puzzles won't always have a binary solution. We encourage players to experiment and have fun with the new tools. We will offer a variety of challenges regardless of playstyle or skill or previous experience in Horizon Zero Dawn. There are new tools to use too. The Polecaster is the mechanical device Aloy has mounted to her wrist. This allows her to grapple up rock faces as well as throwing her into the air to strike enemies from above. The device can also be used as a winch to move or destroy different objects within the environment, such as pulling a chest from a ledge or opening a vent. Meanwhile, the shield wing allows Aloy to glide down from high elevations as well as having uses during combat. For taking down enemies, players get new combat mechanics, enemy types, and weapon variation. One thing players now have to bear in mind is that humans and machines will fight together and they're no longer separate battles. Some enemy factions can also use machines as mounts, and players will need to decide which to take out first. Melee and range combat are also more closely related. For example, the Resonator Blast means a spear can be charged with every melee hit, and when it's fully powered, a high-powered projectile can be sent their way to deal big explosive damage. There are also a total of 12 Valor Surge abilities with specific approaches to combat. These can be unlocked and upgraded through the skill tree, which now has more tracks and skills as well as the ability to synergize with Aloy's outfits. Horizon Forbidden West brings new weapons like the Spike Thrower, which deals high amounts of damage and can hit large targets easily if thrown at the right moment. Other familiar weapons return, like the Hunter Bow, Sharpshot Bow, and the Blast Sling. Weapons and outfits can be upgraded and strengthened at the new workbench, where perks, mod slots, and skills give the opportunity to customize weapons to a player's playstyle. Finally, those who play Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 5 can make use of a variety of DualSense features. The DualSense wireless controller is heavily featured throughout our mechanics, from the scrape of rubble as you push a crate to the sensation of an unraveling winch as you use the Polecaster, with the increased adaptive trigger tension as you pull. We've also added extra tactile dimensions to increase both the gameplay value and the feeling of being part of the world Aloy is moving around in. These can be subtle as the sensation of grass brushing around you to indicate you are entering stealth grass, or the pop of the adaptive trigger as you reach maximum draw with a bow. We even use the absence of adaptive trigger tension to help communicate when you're out of ammo. So yeah, I already knew going into Horizon Forbidden West that this game is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Even just watching like the gameplay trailer from that State of Play a while back, I can just tell by watching it that it's going to be amazing. And now we're starting to get more updates on what features and new things that are going to be coming to the game as far as gameplay, and everything sounds really amazing. I didn't play that much of Horizon Zero Dawn, which I need to do that before the sequel comes out, but the gameplay was pretty good, and there was some features. I know there was a lot of features that people were angry that wasn't in the game. I think there was something with the water that you couldn't swim in, that you could only like hide, and obviously now you can just swim in the water if you want. Also, there's going to be even bigger and better weapons coming to the sequel, so it just sounds really amazing. And also, there's going to be a lot more mountable creatures apparently in this game. I'm guessing there was only maybe a handful of creatures that you could mount in the first game, and now it seems like there's going to be a whole lot more that you can be able to ride in the sequel. And the only thing I'm asking from Guerrilla are those pterodactyls, like those dinosaurs that are flying in the sky. We better be able to freaking ride those things. If not, I'm going to be extremely ticked off. And also, it is nice to be seeing that Horizon Forbidden West will be taking full advantage of the DualSense controllers, just like in the last topic with Call of Duty Vanguard. This game as well will be taking full advantage of the DualSense capabilities. And like I said in the last topic, this just is going to make the game more immersive. Like when you're shooting a bow, as soon as you run out of ammo, it's going to be almost impossible to pull the trigger back, and then you're going to know that you're out of ammo. And down below, for those of you who have a PlayStation 5 at this point, what do you feel about the use of the DualSense so far? Do you feel like developers have done their best when it comes to utilizing the capabilities of the controller, or do you feel like developers can be more creative and take these capabilities to the next level? Moving on to the next topic in the video, we're going to be discussing how a new Splinter Cell game may be in development. Once again, this is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it reads, Ubisoft tested a Splinter Cell style game earlier this year with Hitman-like elements. A recent report from Video Games Chronicle stated that after years of speculation and disappointment for fans, Ubisoft has finally greenlit a new Splinter Cell game. Now, VentureBeat journalist and insider Jeff Grubb has claimed that the company was testing a Splinter Cell style game in the weeks leading up to E3 2021. Note that Grubb calls it a Splinter Cell style game because testers weren't actually told what they were playing. According to him, they were given a vertical slice that was a basic tutorial section, and it combined familiar Splinter Cell action with elements of the 2016 Hitman reboot. This doesn't necessarily mean that the project VGC is referring to will include Hitman-like elements. However, it does indicate that Ubisoft has been toying with the idea of bringing back Splinter Cell in some way. CEO Wise Gilmot said as much back in 2019 when IGN quizzed him about the series, which hasn't seen a new entry since 2013's Blacklist. When you create a game, you have to make sure you will come with something that will be different enough from what you did before. The last time we did a Splinter Cell, we had lots of pressure from all the fans actually saying, don't change it, don't do this, don't do that. So some of the teams were more anxious to work on the brand. Now there are some things and some people that are now looking at the brand, taking care of the brand. So at one point you will see something, but I can't say more than that. So yeah, it seems like earlier this year there were some game testers that were allowed to play this game, and Ubisoft didn't actually tell them what the game was called. I'm guessing they want to try and keep that in wraps for probably like the official reveal of it, because if Splinter Cell does come back, that would be absolutely massive, and it would suck if Ubisoft let some game testers play the game and then they came out and were like, oh, I just played the new Splinter Cell game. That would ruin the surprise. So that's probably why they didn't tell them what the game was called. And also, it seems like whatever this game is, it has a combination of Splinter Cell gameplay mixed with Hitman. And I have played a couple of the Hitman games, and as far as stealth, the gameplay is really good. And I also haven't played a Splinter Cell game in a very long time, so I don't even remember what the gameplay was like. But Splinter Cell did, like, there was a heavy emphasis on stealth. So it seems like the gameplay is probably going to be pretty solid. And also at the end of this article, well, this came back in 2019, but the CEO pretty much confirmed that something Splinter Cell related is happening, but he just can't say what it is or when it's going to be revealed. So at some point, this is going to be revealed. We are going to be getting a new Splinter Cell game. We just don't know when. Now, the final topic of the video is regarding the writing of the highly anticipated Wolverine game being developed by Insomniac. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, and the headline reads, Spec Ops The Line writer Walt Williams is Insomniac's story lead on Marvel's Wolverine. Not much has been said about Marvel's Wolverine since its surprise announcement back in September, but one little tidbit of information that has been sitting in plain sight was only just picked up by internet sleuths over the weekend. The game's story lead is none other than Spec Ops The Line writer Walt Williams. This was first spotted by longtime insider and currently Untold Tales brand manager Shinobi602 on Twitter. Williams joined Insomniac Games in March this year. Prior to this, he worked on Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars Battlefront 2, among other titles. He spent nearly a decade at 2K Games between 2005 and 2014 in various writing roles. Marvel's Wolverine is in development exclusively for the PS5. According to creative director Brian Horton, it'll have a mature tone. Back when we were working on Marvel's Spider-Man, there would be times where all of us, Insomniac, Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Marvel, would brainstorm together about the future beyond the web slinger. And even in those early discussions, Wolverine continually came up as the character we would be really stoked to work on together. Fast forward a couple years and we're suddenly standing in front of Sony Interactive Entertainment and Marvel formally pitching a PlayStation 5 game starring the adamantium and clawed mutant. I could have sworn that this news came out like a few weeks or a month ago, because I'm pretty sure I've made a video talking about how the guy that made the story of Spec Ops: The Line was making the story for this game, but apparently no one has picked it up until now, so I'm going to be talking about it some more because I find it really interesting. You know, I played Spec Ops: The Line several times, not recently, but I remember the story, and it was a very mature, very dark. There's some very, very messed up moments in that game. I'm not going to spoil anything. You guys should experience that for yourself if you've never played it. And the fact that he's going to be the main guy doing the story of this Wolverine game, I already knew this game was going to be phenomenal because it's Insomniac and that the story was going to be amazing, you know, because look at Marvel Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales, and we're going to be getting the upcoming Spider-Man 2 and also a few months ago with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So I'm not worried about the story, but now my hype for this game has just gone up by like a million. Like, I am so excited for this game now. It does suck that we're not going to be able to play this game for probably another 3 or 4 years, which I know that does suck, but when this game does come out, it might end up being one of the greatest superhero games of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure to leave the video a like and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, guys, take care.